Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And we have a actual guest. This video will post Monday, but we are recording it Saturday because that is how dedicated our guest is, Mr. Greg Dickerson. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, Michael. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. So you have a tremendous life event coming up on Monday. You are moving one of your children to college, right? Is that what's going down?
Yeah, my youngest.
Your
So shipping
youngest.
my youngest off to college on Monday. So yeah, I'll be tied up, and it's in the western part of North Carolina, so I don't know what internet cell reception is going to look like there. So I'm like, I better not try to pull over on the road this time.
Yeah,
See if we can do
no,
this early.
enjoy Monday. And again, I appreciate you so much reaching out, recording this Saturday. These will all post on Monday. So the first topic I have for you today was a shocking number on Friday. Every week I talk about the big numbers, and I did not expect this. The consumer sentiment came out, and the number is 71.2. That means nothing to no one. But if you follow that up with, it was a 13% decline month to month. It was the largest on record. And oh, by the way, 70.2 is below April of 2020, which was 71.8. And why is that important? Because April, we were shut down, folks. April was the month the country shut down, and this number was below April. So I got to ask, A, were you shocked? And B, could this be a harbinger of stuff to come? What do you think, Greg?
It's hard to say. It was the lowest reading since 2011.
Yeah.
And basically what it's saying is, they have pretty low expectations for the economy and the recovery. And I think it's largely because of the Delta variant and all the news and what's going on there. And people, some businesses shutting down again. Again, we're having supply chain constraints, especially in China and India. Some of the ports are shutting down. So we are expecting some of the similar issues that we've seen last year, and we haven't even gotten to the fall yet. Yeah. So from what we're being told, this could be pretty serious, and we could be maybe not facing mandatory shutdowns, although that could be a question. But I think a lot of people are expecting some very uncertain times ahead until we see how this thing's going to play out.
Yeah. And again, for me, I think about the two periods, right? The last survey came out kind of after the 4th of July, where we kind of celebrated, right? We're in the light, masks are coming off, throw them away, go out, party, socialize. I mean, even I took a vacation, right? I went to, down south, shortly thereafter the 4th of July, to what we're seeing now in the middle of August. It is starkly different, right? And again, all I've ever done is focused on the consumer. Are they happy or scared? And what we saw was one of the largest swings in a 4 or 5 week period ever. It was one of the 6 largest drops ever. And the other 5 were around big events like 9/11 or the Great Recession or the shutdown in.
Yeah, this one people know is serious. It's definitely got people's attention. The Delta variant is no joke. And, it's spurred a lot of people that were on the fence about vaccination to go ahead and get vaccinated. There are mandatory vaccinations, mandatory maskings in school. It's a very political, controversial discussion, regarding vaccinations and masks. But this one is definitely serious business. This is not like the first one.
Yeah. And really what's going on here, again, because I'm following with the consumer, my question is, oh my God, what's happening with retail, right? Next week, we have Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Target, retail sales actually coming out on Tuesday or Wednesday. It is going to be very interesting. Was last week's consumer sentiment just a fear indicator, or did the consumers tuck their money away and not spend? It's going to be very interesting to see.
Well, the sentiment is almost a current measure, current metric, indicator, whereas spending is going to be more of a lagging indicator. And we've had a pretty robust summer. So I think spending is going to be good. I think where you're going to see potential issues, maybe going into the fall, especially if we have issues around the holidays with, Halloween and things like that. Spending had to have been down last year for Halloween. I mean, I know I spent about half of what I would normally spend on candy and things for kids because you had half the traffic.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it all shakes out and how serious it really gets. But I think that, spending is a lagging indicator, whereas sentiment, I mean, they just took that read in August. So
it was a snap survey. Yeah. Yeah, really what's going to be interesting for me again is not the last quarter, because I expect, again, I've been telling people, right, last quarter was kind of peak earnings, but all of these companies, Home Depot, Walmart, Target, Lowe's, historically speaking, they've also talked about what are their future expectations. I expect Home Depot and Lowe's to go, damn, the remodel boom is over. And I think that will be, I mean, I think they're going to say something similar to that, because I think we stayed home last year and we painted our houses and did all those things. I don't think we're doing that now. I
Oh,
think
it's hilarious, man. I mean, my neighborhood, everybody was working on their yards, their
yeah,
gardens, their mulch bags everywhere. Lowe's was just, it was funny. You had restrictions everywhere. You couldn't go anywhere, but Lowe's was packed. It was
packed.
like, what the heck?
Remember? Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's going to change. I think the second half for retail like Home Depot, Lowe's, they're going to disappoint, right? I think they beat and exceed earnings, which is a look back, but I think they're going to lower expectations going forward. That's my expectation.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, which could play into the whole, transitory inflation debate as well.
Yeah, it could. And then the bigger question for us as a real estate channel is, where do owner occupants go, right? Interest rates crashed on Friday. The 10-year was down 8 basis points, which is a big move for a single day, actually 8.5. But what goes on with owner occupants? Do they retreat more, right? Because again, they took vacation in July. What happens there? Do they come back like last time where like space is good and I want to buy my house? The real estate market is going to get interesting. And oh, by the way, we have tax changes because we have inflation coming and we have higher taxes, I suspect, given the budget reconciliation. So it's going to be a very interesting end of the year.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot going on. We don't know the real outcome and effects of this Delta variant yet. All we can do is look at some of the other countries where, it took hold and spread quickly,
Yeah.
spreading like wildfire here. And some states are putting measures in place to try to keep it at bay. Others are saying, we're not going to mandate masks. We're not going to, restrict anything. We're just going to let it roll. And so we'll see what happens and how it goes, and what the future is, because as the epidemiologists say, there's plenty of Greek letters left in the alphabet to work through. So
Yeah, exactly. Lambda or whatever the next one is.
yeah.
Yeah. So for me,
man.
yeah, for me, it's all about the consumer. And again, where I think they clearly went from being excited to fearful.
Mhm.
And when they make that big a switch, to historically speaking, I've been looking for almost 30 years, they will reduce spending. They will save more.
Yeah, they'll do that. And then the other thing that's interesting, I think people might be stocking up again on certain items,
Yeah.
thinking that, hey, there might be shortages of things. Because remember last time you couldn't get wipes, you couldn't get bleach, you couldn't get cleaning supplies. And
Mhm.
it was funny, I was listening to something the other day where like Clorox or one of these, cleaning supply companies, their sales were way down. They're like, well, we had unprecedented
Yeah,
demand,
exactly.
and
How many
now
more do
we
I
have no
need?
demand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
it'll
was
be funny
Clorox.
if the
Yeah.
toilet paper trade is back on again, man. We can go in, buy all the toilet paper and sell it by the roll out front, kind of like my elementary school days, buy big
Yeah.
bags of candy,
Yeah.
sell them out front, or sell them off by the piece.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting. I think that Friday number surprised a lot of people. Historically speaking, you're right. That is a leading indicator, and I think consumers are going to retreat. And
I don't know. I don't read a whole lot into it, because there's a lot of
okay,
people out there right now. They're having a ball. They're on vacation. People are traveling at scale. Airlines are record levels packed.
yeah,
People are getting out and celebrating. And I think, it depends on what questions were asked to who, right?
yeah,
And those types of things. So if
mhm,
you're asking those questions in, the southern part of the states where, it's just running rampant down there,
mhm.
you might get a very different answer than if you ask it in the Midwest or in my area where things are pretty normal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's talking about airlines though. Again, just a sign of what's coming. Both Southwest and Frontier Airlines last week said because of Delta variant, their cancellations have gone up noticeably, and
Yeah.
future bookings are down. So I think all this stuff's going to tie together. I guess the takeaway for me, Greg, is we are not out of this yet. It's still going to mess with our economy going forward. So it's going to be fun to watch. How can people follow you and be part of your world?
Yeah. GregDickerson.com. All my info's there. YouTube channel, podcast. Put out all kinds of content on entrepreneurship, real estate, buying companies, building companies, investing, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, it's a great read. You got to follow him, GregDickerson.com. Thanks, buddy.